Ready? Welcome to the Public Works Committee meeting of January 7th, 2009. Happy holidays, Happy New Year to everybody. May it be everybody's best year yet. I'm the chair, Bill Rosendahl, and Greg Smith is the vice chair, I think.
Good enough for me.
And so we have a majority and we're in session. We have been given here lists of two on consent, which are items 1 and 3, and item 2, 4, and 5 for discussion. Item 1, what is it? Real quickly.
Okay.
Adam?
Item 1, City Engineer Report, Negative Declaration, BE 642-08, relative to the vacation of Killian Street easterly of Lancashire Boulevard from Lancashire Boulevard to its easterly terminus, vacation E 1401064.
There's obviously no one against this,
No. We haven't even received any
so
comments.
staff recommends we go forward with it.
Yes.
Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, that is item number
Uno.
uno.
That would be number 1.
Okay, item number 3, we'll just to continue the consent issues first. What's item number 3?
Item number 3, City Engineer Report relative to the vacation of the alley northerly of DeLongpre Avenue between Ivar Avenue and Cahuenga Boulevard, vacation E 1401049.
Now, I see here issue, and then it says recommendation special approved the denial of the vacation request. Is that where we're at?
That's where we're at.
Anybody else to talk about that here in the room? Yes. Please, come on up. Have you filled out a card? This is item number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize I had to fill out.
Oh, that's okay.
I can do that.
We'll
still
give it
after.
to you. Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah, we're not going to let you leave, so
I'm fine
Yeah.
with that. All right. You got a deal?
Okay.
Yeah, we read the.
Grab the mic closer to you, and
Oh,
then
right there in front of you.
state your name.
My name is Peter Bulke. I represent Granite Prospects, who is the owner of the property, and I also represent NT Audio, who is actually leases the property, but the owners of NT Audio and Granite Prospects are the same.
Sure.
Okay. When I read the engineer's report denying the vacation, it states that it's necessary for use in for loading and unloading. We tracked that, and actually there is never any trucks loaded or unloaded. The reason being is it's too small. Our own garbage truck, the company that cannot get in, he has to park on Ivar, roll the bin out, and then empty it. And what we do notice, though, is that Ivar is used for unloading and loading because it has a median, and all the trucks stand there and they load and unload over
Right.
there. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's actually point 1 and point 3, which to me is basically the same thing. Then the number 2, the alley provides a key route for vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Well, yes, there is cars going through there, and on an average, it's 1 car every 2 hours, and the pedestrians, it's 1 every hour. Mainly the cars that use that alley is the ones that miss the parking entry from Amoeba music store. There's a music store and they have a parking. When they miss that, they will use the alley, go all the way around to Sunset and come back. If it would be fenced off, there wouldn't be enough issue, of course, because there would only be one entrance. That's my point. Then, if I could go back, the reason why we asked for the vacation is not that we need it for any construction. What the main reason is, it's a nuisance for us, because when we did our homework, we were told, well, basically, it's an easement, so it's your property, you have to maintain it, the city is not going to maintain it. But the maintenance, the upkeep of that is a real financial burden for us, because it's used by everybody in its uncle. I mean, what we find in there is abandoned shopping carts,
Sure.
beer and liquor. You know, the homeless, we called the LAPD several times and I said, please guys, can you do it yourself, because we are understaffed, we can't do it. We also have seen drug activities over there. So either drop-offs and pickups, and so that's going on. Now for me, I'm running a business in there and I have customers in there and employees. So I'm concerned about their security as well. So in a nutshell, that's what the reasoning was to ask for the vacation.
Staff, does anybody want to react to that? Please, Bureau of Engineering.
Good afternoon. Edmund Yu from Public Works Engineering. When BOE received this application, we sent a referral to the City Planning Department for the comment. And based on Planning Department's comment, those are the two issues that they raised based on how they reviewed the Hollywood Community Plan. They said that is the goal of the community plan to have loading away from the public street. And they also, as part of the transportation element, that they would like to see the bicycle issues. So, and then the summary finding from planning department was that this vacation would not be in conformance with the community plan for that area. So engineering at this time really cannot make any recommendation to approve it based on that recommendation from planning.
Had you met with him before?
No, I don't think so.
Have you heard
No.
his comments before?
No, this is the first time I bring the comments. Because I received a letter back from the engineering with the comments, with the letter accompanying saying, yeah, there will be a meeting for you to present your comments. And I guess this is the first letter that I received to do this.
So I think in this case, we are willing to, if planning department is willing to reconsider their position on the general plan, then engineering definitely may consider a different position. But the most basic issue is planning department is saying that your vacation is not in conformance with the city's general plan altogether. So that really put it as a fundamental issue.
Okay. Mr. Smith, you want to say something?
No, I was just going to ask Mr. Yu if you could just do an on-site visit with this gentleman, take a look at it, and physically look at it rather than just listening to the planning department.
Okay, sure.
Because planning has a bad habit of just looking at flat maps and making determinations, and sometimes you get out in the real world and it's totally different. So
Okay, sure.
if you just,
And I'm glad he said that, and we obviously don't talk to each other. We're quorum here, and so this was a healthy moment. We do not want to make this a consent item with hearing his compelling arguments, to be honest with you. When you hear that kind of discussion,
Yeah.
I want to take a deep breath.
particularly if it's only a 10-foot wide, if I
Right,
read this
right.
10-foot wide, nobody's using that for,
Right.
If you look at
Loading.
it, you will see
Yeah.
on
Okay,
both
Yeah.
sides,
bottom
the other
line
blocks
is,
is
we-
closed off.
It's closed
Adam
off.
will agendize this for the next meeting, continue the item, get with planning, get with the property owner there, and come back with a different or same recommendation.
Okay, sure.
Okay,
and also consult with CD 13 if you would too.
please do.
Okay.
Keith,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
CD13 is the council member in that area.
Yeah. You need to go see him too.
Yeah. And thanks for coming by, appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
If you hadn't come by, it was good that.
to talk to somebody.
Yes,
That's a
right.
good thing.
And we appreciate
It's a
that.
good
very
thing.
much. Okay. All right. So we will continue that item. That is item 3. So now we're back to item 2. Item 2.
Item number 2, city engineer report relative to the vacation of Valencia Street and Ingraham Street Vacation District, vacation E1400875.
And we have a card on this. His name, is that Don Lancaster?
Don Lancaster.
Hello, Don. Just fine. And yourself? Happy
I'm
New
doing
Year.
well.
Good. Great. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Don
says-
Lancaster, Los Angeles Unified School District. We are in support of the vacation being granted. The school is up and built. We have not done everything that we needed to close out the vacation. It was initiated, it lapsed, and we brought it back forward at the urging of engineering. There are 3 conditions that concern us, and we'd like to strike those conditions. Conditions 13 and 15 are really within the purview of the city. Condition 13 requires a posting by DOT of a passenger loading zone, a passenger loading only zone. That's certainly something that we're not opposed to, but that's just a condition that's outside of our purview. Similarly, condition 15 requires that the school district and the council office and DOT remove existing parking meters. Again, that's something that's really within the city's purview and outside the scope of what we can do. And so we don't want to be unnecessarily hindered by condition 15. And then finally, condition 14, we're just unclear what the true meaning of it is. it states in relevant part, LAUSD agrees to prevent awkward maneuvers by proposed school buses, close quote. We simply don't know what they mean by awkward
It's kind of a
maneuvers.
broad term. Yeah.
We will of course follow the law.
Okay.
Our buses
Very good.
will, so.
Okay, so why don't you just stay here, and we have another card, and then we'll ask city staff to respond to this real quickly, but you can stay right with us here. Clyde Williams? Come on up.
Hello, my name is Clyde Williams, 4115 Barrett Road, El Sereno. We were looking primarily at the item 4, and I'll speak on that. Or, sorry, item 3, or 4.
Well, you did 2 items here,
Yeah,
Clyde.
2
You
and
did
4.
Item 2 and 4, yeah.
Yeah. We're concerned more about the item 4, but item 2, it seems like it's a done deal already, because at least the Google Earth shows the vacations to be already occupied by construction. So it seems we were interested in this primarily that doesn't seem to be due diligence, at least on the documents that were available in the files.
Okay, all right, so hold your point there, and I know you'll
Yeah.
come back on 4.
Yeah.
City staff, please.
Edmund Yu from Public Works Engineering. This vacation has a long history. I think LAUSD initially submitted the application back in 2003, and the City Council approved it one time, but the time limit ran out before LAUSD can complete all the conditions. So I think LAUSD, since at the meantime, has started construction. So that's the reason I think the
Well,
school is actually
construction
over
is
there.
actually completed. The school is occupied.
That's
So,
what he was referring
So
to.
it's now the conditions that are the issue, because the council had already approved the vacation.
right.
So it's the conditions that are being questioned.
And that's part of the problem. Our process is quite lengthy, as you well know. We go through a pre-development phase, and then a construction phase is handed off, and sometimes those conditions aren't satisfied. And so it is our mistake. We're trying to
Okay.
remedy that mistake.
So are you ready
today.
for us to consent it now and move forward?
To consent it?
Well, he has some question about these 3 items.
Yeah.
So,
If you can remove
Yeah.
the-
All right,
those
so then.
conditions.
Regarding the 3 conditions, during the first initial approval from the City Council, those conditions were added by CD1 by motion at the council floor. So this time around, we based on what happened the first time around, that's why we added all these conditions, knowing that that probably was the intent from the council district. And so at this time, I think they may have to contact CD1 just to make sure what they feel about that position at this time, because these are not the typical conditions recommended by Bureau of
You
Engineering.
would like to put it on hold until
Yes.
they meet with CD1?
That's correct.
Okay, fine.
but 13 and 15 are conditions that the city has to do, not the LAUSD, correct? I mean, LAUSD does not install passenger loading zone signs, we do. And LAUSD does not remove parking meters, we do. So those conditions are on us, not on them, just for clarification.
They would assign.
They would have to work
They
with the
have to go-
departments.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
go to DOT and
Right.
and have them do those
Right.
things. So it's only 14 that's still an issue then.
We can agree to obey the law if we can strike 13 and 15.
Well, it's not striking them, there's still conditions, but not on your back.
Right.
It's on our city back. So 14 was the
Yeah.
only,
So taking his point, we're responsible for 13 and 15.
Well, basically, the school district would make arrangement with, say, the DOT or the appropriate departments to follow up with those issues.
Yeah.
Okay, and for the other one?
14? I guess we're just at a loss to what it means by
What it
awkward
means.
movement.
Yeah, that is the language that the council office put in, and,
Yeah, what does it mean?
yeah.
what does that mean?
What does it mean for him?
I don't know what it means. You know, you go to
So
the
that's why-
dictionary, awkward,
yeah.
it could be very strange.
What that means. points.
I don't
Right.
think they probably want them to make any U-turns or
Right.
awkward left turns in that area. It's a very small area. If you look on Wilshire and Whitmer,
Okay.
there's a hospital also in the area, so it's very small streets. They probably just want them to have a one-directional travel implemented, so you guys come in and out. It's based on, this is near the Rampart, that's why I'm very familiar with this.
But you know, school buses are very different.
All right,
than
all right, let's do
automobiles.
That's what I'm
this. We don't want to
saying, so they
continue it
wouldn't do
here.
that.
Please get with Council District 1.
Absolutely.
Get with Council District
Sure.
1.
Mhm.
Clarify
Resolve
that.
remaining issue, make it clear that 3 and 13 and 15 or whatever are city responsible, whatever it is,
It-
bring it back.
Yeah, it may be, Mr. Lancaster, just a responsibility of you to write a letter to DOT on 13 and 15, say, please do this per the conditions.
Right.
Very good.
And if we could do that, we don't need to bring it back here.
Well, we could go ahead and pass it with those instructions, and then when it comes back to council,
That would be my
we just say,
preference.
is it done?
Unless there's a problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't take
We
you but,
approve it with the obvious
Subject to-
discussion we just had on
Yeah.
those 3 points.
by the time it gets to council, you'll have a week or two to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you, Council.
so moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
both. Appreciate it. Make sure you do that follow-up before it gets to council. If there's a problem, we'll bring it back. Okay, so that we've done now 1, 2, and 3, correct?
That is correct.
Item number 4.
Item 4, city engineer report relative to the vacation of Andalusia Avenue and Camino Real Vacation District, vacation E1401057.
Clyde, I see you. Come on back. We handling the other one all right?
I reflect upon a final map extension request
Yeah.
by the Bureau of Engineering for Elephant Hill. 63G, date 17th December, went to City Council and Huizar only at that time, oh, it's Elephant Hill.
Yeah, right.
And
Okay.
that included a lot of public works.
Fair enough.
Uh,
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, basically, are we selling all of the assets of the city of Los Angeles? You were concerned about individual parcels of the city within the district. Where's the map of all
You
of?
want to make a bid? We'll take a bid.
Yeah, how much, then it goes, how much per square foot? If I can get a corner of an intersection of a future road, hey, how much per square foot? So we're looking at the same thing in Elephant Hill. There are a lot of roads in Elephant Hill, half of which supposedly have been deeded over to the adjacent owners, I hope at a reasonable cost. So we're basically opposed to any of these, especially at an intersection where
We got you. We got your
Right.
point. What we're saying is the petitioner, owners of the property are requesting this vacation.
Yes.
The Bureau of Engineering indicates the vacation of the above would have an adverse impact,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
On actual.
So we're supporting the finding of adverse impact.
Yes, yes, yes. Did you wanna-
Just to explain, Chris Westhoff, Public Works General Counsel.
Yeah, Happy New Year,
We-
Chris.
Same to both of you. We don't own the property. We only have an easement. We can only use it for street purposes. The only time we vacate is when it's not going to be used for street purposes. There is actually the right of the property owner to use it if we're not using it, so we're not giving away city property. We're just, in essence, removing our easement right that we have over those public rights of way, because they are owned by the adjoining property owner. They're not owned by the city of Los Angeles, except in very rare instances, in which case it would be a sale, in which case we would get a price per square foot or whatever the going price
So
would be.
you want us to approve the denial of?
No, whatever counts. I'm just qualifying for the speaker that we aren't giving away city property in this particular instance. We are just removing an easement that the city has over property that is owned by the adjoining property owner.
Is the resident here at all from the area there?
No.
No, isn't here and hasn't filled out a card. Well, the recommendation is to approve the denial of the vacation.
Denied.
So we have 2 votes on that, so moved. Item number 4 is now done. Thanks for coming up, too. Okay, now we're to item number 5, yes?
Yep. Item number 5, motion Labange Weezer relative to the creation of a task force to examine ways to regulate the sale of cars on city streets and related matters.
Hi,
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Tom Carabello, Bureau of Street Services.
hey, Tom.
We conducted some research and found out that in 2000, the ACLU filed a case on behalf of an individual that was issued a parking citation for the for sale sign in his car window. U.S. District Judge reviewed the case and found that the matter was not of public safety and issued an injunction prohibiting the city from enforcing LAMC 80.75. Other city enforcement agencies were also advised by the city attorney's office that LAMC 80.73, which prohibits for sale signs on parked vehicles, was also stopped, even though it wasn't part of the injunction. So currently, nobody's enforcing the for sale signs on the vehicles or the vehicles parked on streets that are trying to be sold. Now, we did find out that the city of Lawndale has enacted an ordinance that they are that will help them regulate this problem. And one of the things that they do, or what they're doing, is they're actually following some state sections that allows them to impound vehicles that are on the city streets for the purpose of selling vehicles. They have to meet some certain sections, certain requirements in order to impound those vehicles. It is a time-consuming process. The agencies that enforce this have to actually go out there several times. They have to notify the individual and before they can actually impound the vehicle. One of the things it does allow them to do, the individual, is to place two vehicles in front of their residence within 500 feet in order to try to sell the vehicle. But it doesn't allow them to place the vehicle on major and secondary streets. At this point, at this time, what we suggested that we refer this back to the city attorney to review their ordinance and see how we can apply it to the city of LA.
Interesting. Sarah.
Keith Pritzker, Deputy City Attorney. I agree with the recommendations of staff in street services. I would ask that you adopt the motion that Councilmember Labange introduced on this item and was sent to your committee, and that you add to the list of city departments that should be part of this committee the Department of Transportation.
Because it's saying the task force should have who in it now? Public safety, LAPD, city attorney? You want to put DOT in?
Yes. And I would ask that you go ahead and instruct us to meet, review, and consider a new ordinance along the lines of that adopted by the City of Lawndale, and report back in 60 days.
Explain the Lawndale one. What do they do?
Well, Lawndale, what they do is their enforcement agencies, they'll go out there and they will cite the vehicle initially.
I know.
Along with the cite, they have to mail the policy enacted by the city advising that it is illegal to sell vehicles on the public right-of-way unless it's in front of their residence within the 500 feet. They'll go back out there a second time if the vehicle is still in violation. At that point, they will
cite it the first time. Is that a fine citing or just an information?
It is a fine. There is a fine associated with the citation.
What kind of a fine?
That I don't know.
I see.
I'd have to go
Okay.
back and research that. Second time, they'll go back out there, do the same thing. They'll cite it, but within 24 hours, they'll impound the vehicle, and then they'll have to do a post-impound hearing where they'll bring the individual in, explain the section of the ordinance, and go from there.
Is there a state law that allows the for sale signs to be placed on vehicles parked on a public street?
No.
There
In
is
fact,
no.
the law that the City of Lawndale is stating is actually prohibiting the sale of vehicles on the public right-of-way.
But with the exclusion of in front of your house or within 500 feet of your house?
Yes, that's correct.
That's the exclusion
Right.
that they put in there. Okay, so our feeling is, we look at Lawndale. Is there any other cities that have done other things besides Lawndale?
No, the research that we conducted, Lawndale was the only city following
And when
this.
you do your research, do other cities have issues with it too? And they just
Absolutely.
haven't resolved it.
Absolutely.
I see LAPD is in the room. Come on up, please. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
You may never get out of that chair.
Yeah, that's how this equipment. How they were going at an angle.
God bless you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, you too. On behalf of LAPD,
Your name for the record.
Officer Craig Orange, from Northeast Division, which we patrol East Hollywood, Eagle Rock, Los Feliz, Franklin Hills, Echo Park area, and also Highland Park and Cypress Park. With those areas that I just spoke of, looking at the major city streets, which is Los Feliz, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock, looking at from the vehicles that are with the signs posted in their actual window, you're looking at a major traffic issue. It's not just for a safety but a quality of life issue, where you have most of these vehicles that have these vehicles posted with the for sale sign. Most of those registered owners do not live in that community. They're outside the community, and what they're doing is advertising that vehicle for sale in parts of those communities that have a lot of traffic, pet traffic, and also a lot of people who walk their dogs in that area, advertising that vehicle for sale. And what it's creating is a major traffic issue, especially on Los Feliz Boulevard, where you have a 3-lane highway, which when you have most of those vehicles that is parked on that city street, it eliminates that 1 lane to 2 lanes, and maybe even if it's a large vehicle like an RV, now you're looking at 1.5 lanes that's being taken, which is a major traffic issue. And then sometimes you look at it as well, some of those vehicles are parked on a certain intersection near a corner, which is a blind intersection, which also causes traffic accidents. So that's one of the major issues that we're looking at, and that's why we like to have this ordinance taking place.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Anybody else in the room here wanted to address the issue? Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I remember when the city's ordinance was overturned, which I threatened to find the judge's house and go park in front of his house and see how he liked it. But my question is, as I look at this Lawndale ordinance, it is not significantly different than the one that was overturned of ours by the judge. And so the question is, the state law, which as I recall, the state vehicle code prohibited the signs in the windows before our law was overturned. Has their law changed since then that would now make this more doable?
I don't think it has, but I'd like you to instruct us to do an independent analysis and report back to you on the feasibility of adopting either something similar, and give us 2 months to do that.
Okay, I have no problem with that, and just for your knowledge, I'm a reserve officer. I've written, back in the day when we could, I wrote many citations on this because I think the worst thing we have is aggregation. When you find a dozen of them at an intersection, it's a problem. People are stopping, looking, and it is a real problem, contrary to what the judge may say, but the judge was wrong. But that is the rule we have to follow, the rule of law. So and I'd love to find a way to get around that, Judge, if we could. So I have no problem with instructing you to do that. I'm not going to be so optimistic that I think this is a solution.
Right, and I would point out that there hasn't been any legal challenge to the City of Lawndale's ordinance, and it's possible that maybe it wouldn't
no one's going
withstand
to
judicial
challenge
scrutiny.
Lawndale. It's 45 people or whatever. Come
Right.
on.
Right.
It's smaller than your basic car.
Lawndale's law went into effect when? How long ago?
I don't know. I don't have that ordinance in front of me.
Is it dated?
November? Last year?
Yeah. It's an
Hear
08.
that? It's brand new.
Yeah, it's brand new.
November 2008.
But it's such a small city, the ACLU is not going to challenge it probably
Right.
unless somebody brings it to their attention.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Now, when you speak about it, you're talking about the Colorado area there and Los
Eagle
Feliz.
Rock and Los Feliz, correct.
Does the LAPD feel in general throughout the city? Because this would
Yeah.
be a citywide
Yes,
ordinance. we're talking
you have to look at Hollywood Boulevard,
Yeah.
Sunset,
Yeah.
your major thoroughfare where you have a lot of traffic as far as vehicle traffic, commercial vehicles, as well as pet traffic as well.
Yeah, we're going to ask Mr. Labange to come on up to the table. We're looking forward to your comment on this. This is an issue, Mr. Labange, that you put on the agenda here that looks at the Department of Building and Safety, Street Services, LAPD, and the city attorney to form a task force to examine ways to regulate the sale of cars on city streets. It was also suggested that DOT be part of that collaborative effort, and there's also been discussion to report back in 60 days with a plan of action. We looked at what they're doing in Lawndale. A new law went into effect in November of last year, and we obviously don't want to see what Mr. Smith was saying in the past. The courts threw out what we had done before. Ms. LeBon, do you want to comment on this?
No, I just think you got a lot of people here. This is the chief of police for the RD. Yeah, sit right there, Chief. You want to testify?
No, sir.
Tell them what the people of Los Feliz say when the traffic is so bad and all the cars have signs on them that say for sale.
Yes, hi, I'm Officer Gina Shaban. I work for LAPD Northeast Division, and I am the senior lead officer for the Los Feliz area. Part of the complaints that I also get, and I get them often, is that when we're getting these folks who are selling their cars, they're not just selling one or two. Sure. Any given weekend, I have 25 to 30. We've actually logged them. They're taking up all these streets in an area like Los Feliz, which is predominantly a lot of condominiums, a lot of apartments. Most of the folks, and living in a modern day where we have 2 to 3 cars per family, most of those folks cannot find a parking spot. So those are some of the concerns.
What is compelling for me, to be candid with you, is if it's a resident in front of their house and within 500 feet, that kind of meets my community needs. And appreciation. Those people who put cars, they don't even live there, and they block the area for the obvious advantage of people seeing it and people walking by, causing both traffic and safety issues and quality of life issues, becomes the issues that we're dealing with here.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I do. When you talk about traffic, and you're Mr. Traffic, and same thing happens in West LA. People go out and they put 30, 50 cars on Washington Boulevard. They put street signs on. They put them on Sherman Way. They put them on other streets, and they run car lots in the city streets. Los Feliz Boulevard is one of the only connectors. It's the de facto Beverly Hills freeway that connects the Pasadena 2 freeway with West Hollywood, and you know the great economic drive in Hollywood, West Hollywood, and West LA. So all of a sudden, traffic is backed up all the way past Vermont Avenue. When people want to go to the zoo, the train ride, the merry-go-round, and then there are people selling these cars on the street, and it causes an impact for the whole area. We have to have a tough law, a good law, and a fair law, because there are options for them. There are many vacant parking lots off-street that they can create a little, I don't want to call it a swap meet, but a village of, like they do in some towns, where you all park your cars and you walk through. So we want to attack it, and I think having a working group to look at other laws, whether Lawndale is the most effective one. I just want to make sure the one that the city attorneys are going to fight hand in hand with us and the LAPD out there to make sure it improves the quality of life for people. And I will tell you, Gina probably gets 50 complaints a month from the people there because they see us as not being able to be representatives. You know, what are you doing to our
It's
neighborhood?
compelling, Tom. I agree with you. Agree with everything you've just said. Mr. Smith?
I just add, Keith, when you do this, contact the California League of Cities, because they keep record of ordinances that are working around the state on all these kind of issues, and they keep a whole compendium of possible ordinances, so.
I'll do that. And we do have 3 neighborhood prosecutors that I've spoken with, and it's very high on their priority list as well.
Yeah, we all have the problem everywhere. It's a problem. So if we can find a way around Judge March's stupid ruling, we'll do it. And if you can find his address for me, I'd be happy to go park my car out there.
Okay, so the consensus of the group is to report back in 2 months, and let's make sure that the Department of Building and Safety, Street Services, LAPD, City Attorney with DOT are part of the collective on it.
Office of Councilor Tom LaBonge, and I welcome any other council members. We're going to join hands in hand.
Yeah, and we certainly want it in my district, the 11th district, where we do have some concerns of this for sure in Venice and in other areas. So we do believe in a citywide strategy for this, but I would like you to incorporate the coastal district, which is the most gridlocked district in the city, and in part this becomes an issue for the constituents as well. But Mr. Smith's point about League of Cities keeping tabs on stuff, I want you to really look at this, not just from LA County, city, state, but just look at how people do it across the country and other places too. We want to make it so effective that there is no blowback from a judge. That's the key thing that we can put in place. So moved.
I understand.
Chair,
And,
will this be held in committee pending that report back, or will we approve the motion with the amendments that we've discussed to including DOT and the task
We'll
force?
report back.
And request the city attorney to report back on the feasibility of the Lawndale ordinance.
Well, we're going to want to do this within a 60-day period.
Yeah, why don't we hold it on the table for 60 days and
Okay.
y'all
Get all
report
that
back.
info in.
Let me ask a question. Does the legislative analyst often know, is there any legislative calendar in Sacramento that we gotta compete with?
It's too late.
When is it too late?
December, new bills.
New bills has to be last.
Yeah.
This would be for whole.
Unless, you can you could always find one to amend. Yeah, or a trailer bill, find one to amend, or a gut.
Sand the Streets Act up there in the city attorney's office, liaison office.
Good point.
Yeah, we'll look at that. So let's do 30 days. Let's put pressure on ourselves. Can we do it in 30 days, Keith?
Well, my initial suggestion was 30 days. However, it was the suggestion of staff in street services that we make it 60 days. We could certainly set this over for 1 month, and then if we're not able to complete the task in 1 month, we can put it over another 2 weeks or 4 weeks.
As far as I'm concerned, Keith, if you say 30 days is fine, that's what's important, because you got to do the main part of the work here, not street services.
I say we do that. If we need
Sure.
another quarter put in the meter, we put it in the meter.
Well, it's $1 now, but that's okay.
And going up, Tommy. Okay.
All right.
All right. So
And Captain
30 days.
Labange can release all of Northeast Division now to go back to work.
we missed you from the committee, Tommy. Okay, so moved. Action taken.
items you got?
That's it.
Is that it?
Yeah, I moved it.
Wait a minute, there was somebody with a card.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You can't take action until.
Sit down.
You have to sit here, folks. No more scribbling, everybody.
You are so.
Craig,
Police officer command.
If I heard that.
Command.
where's this person, Craig?
Heard that.
Teach it in the academy.
I believe it's the officer that
Actually-
spoke
He's going back. I
already.
think he's going back.
Oh, it was the officer spoke.
Is he?
Okay, action taken.
He's trying to give
Done.
them new
Thank
stations.
you.
Trying to get a job.
Why didn't you
Get a-
wear your uniform for the next meeting?
Anything else, folks?
That was-
Why you didn't wear it Saturday? Why you
Meeting's
wear it Saturday?
adjourned, thank